Hey everyone, Peter here from Eagle Software and welcome to our November 2020 product release webinar. Joining me today is our CEO, Luke Parvid. Welcome, Luke.
Hey, Peter.
And also one of our developers, Tony Trin. Welcome, Tony.
Hey, so my name is Tony. I'm part of the engineering team here at Eagle. I do the design work and I'm a front-end developer. Previously, I've worked at a digital agency on accounts like Holden and Jetstar. Hey.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, Tony. So Tony's joining us because he's done a good bit of work on some of the features that we released this quarter. So yeah, he's going to chime in on some of the stuff that we've released as part of that, which is really good to have him. So for this webinar, we're going to be covering releases from this quarter. So we've got a few big ticket items that we're going to be going through: QR code inspections, the new buyer management screen, the new contact activity feed tab. We've done a bunch of work on the mobile app, and we've also got some new integrations and a few other small updates as well. And then we're going to take a look at what's coming up for the next quarter, and we'll just touch on feedback again at the end. Obviously, feedback, ties into everything that we do here. So let's jump straight to it. Cool. So the first thing we're having a look at is the QR code inspection check-ins. So Luke, did you want to maybe give us a bit of a rundown on this one?
Yeah, so this would have to be one of the features that we most requested in the shortest amount of time. We just had a lot of people asking us, and it all started like maybe a week or two ago, or probably 3 weeks ago now, and we just started getting calls and emails and just so much feedback just about these QR codes. And it was so much so that we thought, let's see if we can squeeze it in. And we've been able to do that, and it's been an amazingly popular feature. About a quarter of inspections now that are checked in through Eagle are checked in through the inspection through the QR codes. Wow, which is massive given it's only been out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So this has been an amazing feature for us to be able to build and for our clients to be able to use.
Yep. And obviously, QR codes have been around a long time, but I think obviously with the social distancing rules and everything with COVID, that's had that little push. And obviously a lot of businesses, even outside of real estate, everyone has to collect details like for checking people in and all that. So for contact tracing, so this is obviously really good. And all the data obviously is going into the CRM as well, just like you would when you're checking in with the mobile app. So this is really cool. So we'll just show you really quickly how you can generate the QR codes. So there's two places you can do it. On the listing itself, if you go to the inspections tab, you've got the print QR code. So it's a unique QR code per inspection. And then also on the main inspections tab, we've also got it here as well. So you can just generate those, print it out, and then display it at your inspections. So like Luke said, that's been a really, really good one.
I think people just love that they can, instead of having people waiting at the door and typing on your phone, people can just check themselves in. Just saves a lot of time, and obviously contactless as well.
Yep. Awesome. All right. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the new buyer management screen. So with this one, basically we just wanted to make it like a one-stop shop where you could kind of oversee all your potential buyers on a particular listing. And so a few parts to it, obviously you can see all potential buyers, and then we've got all the interest level. So some of the stuff that you're putting in on the inspections is flowing through to this screen. Managing that contract request status. So that's something that we introduced this quarter too. And then adding notes, sending emails, some functionality on each of them. And then the tooltips as well, which we'll talk a little bit more about those later on. And basically we've had some really good feedback on the buyer table. Lots of people are loving it, but there's also some stuff that we want to do to improve it as well. And so this quarter, once, you know, we've obviously released it, and we've been collecting that feedback so that we can get the next updates to really hit on, you know, the use cases that people are wanting for this screen.
Yeah, so while you're having a look at it on the screen here, I guess to give a bit of a background of this one, this is part of our series of improvements that we've been doing on the whole buyer flow. So everything from the inspections, which we'll touch on with the mobile app, the improvements we've done there, and that information flows through to this table here, and then that obviously feeds through to the vendor report. And so this is our initial version of the buyer management section. As you mentioned, there'll be more things coming to this screen. But yeah, just a piece in that in that flow that we've been working on over the last quarter, and longer than that as well, but this in particular.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Tony, you've had a hand in designing some of this. Like we've only got 3 potential buyers here, but if you've got more, we've got the infinity scroll. I think there's,
yeah, we just, you know, a lot of these tables, sometimes there's a lot of information, so it's very flexible. If there's a small screen, you'll be able to quickly scroll. So it's more flexible. It works, very well across a wide range of criterias.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, we've got some updates coming to this, but we'll cover that a little bit later on. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the new contact activity feed. So this is a big one. So there's basically been an overhaul. So a big part of it has been design improvements, and then with that, we've done a good bit of work in actually, you know, making it much easier to, you know, to digest information, to edit notes, and to, you know, just have more information at your fingertips, and to make it easier to see, and yeah, just to freshen up as well. So I'll open that up as well. Did you want to, again, Tony, maybe give us a bit of a rundown on some of the stuff that you've done on this screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so this was a really good opportunity for us to, you know, as we take a look at this and do some major work that we wanted to, you know, bring more power to the user, just be able to see more things, you know, edit more things. So, you know, one of the things that we did was enhance the filtering. So now not only you still have your filter tabs up top, but you also, on the all tab, you have the, you know, filter buyer, which shows all the different types you can quickly see. And they match up with also the tabs up top. So you can do it both however you like it. It's very flexible. With the editing also, we wanted to improve that, make it quick so that, you know, when you can see everything you want to do, and as soon as you do it, there's no like screen reload. It'll just instantly update right there and then for you, whether that's an, you know, association change or a permission or attachments. Just happens very quick and snappy. You know, we've made it easier to do some old things like, you know, the ability to delete. We've also added the ability to pin items, urgent things that need to show up top.
Yep.
And now they're also kind of grouped by date. So if you have kind of upcoming tasks, you know, any task, they will show up above past items. So, you know, we made it easier for you to be able to understand the information, because there's a lot of information being shown. So
yeah, what I really like about it is showing the associations. Like here, you know, you can see the contact, the address, the appraisal, and also what we added in this version as well was editing the associations as well. So whereas before the associations were there, it was kind of hidden from the user a little bit, whereas now it's been brought to the surface and is shown right there. And another of my favorite things about the activity feed is if you scroll down to an email, you can see the highlighted information there. The opens and the clicks is highlighted. It's pulled out some extra information to make it easily viewable at a glance. And we've done that with key pieces of information on lots of different types of activity feed items, just so that, you know, sometimes just get that information quickly without having to read the whole note.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I really like is the infinity scroll. So it will load as you're scrolling. It will just keep loading more stuff in. So it helps to, I guess, load the page quickly, but then you can still dive in to further history if you need to. Another cool thing is the tooltips. You can access quick information about, if it's on there, about those associations as well. So which obviously makes it very easy to, at a glance, get that info while you're looking or working on this contact.
And not only that, but from those tooltips, being able to launch the global components that we've been working on. So if you wanted to create a note or another task or something, you can just easily click that button. It's right there, and you can just quickly add it in and keep working on what you're working on without having to refresh the screen or anything like that.
Yep. Cool. All right, so let's take a look at some other stuff in the activity feed. So we've introduced tasks into the activity feed, which wasn't in the activity feed prior. So we actually probably could have had a look at that already, but we've got some tasks in here. And so again, the tasks show within the timeline. So when they're due, like Tony mentioned, it'll show as upcoming. If they're overdue, you get this overdue badge here, and you also get a little bit more information as to, you know, how the task was created, whether that was a user or it was an automation. And you can click through to the automation too. And this goes to the automation tracker, and that would show what step of the automation actually created the created the task. So you can get, you know, full context as to what's happening there. Did you guys have anything else to add to tasks? You can complete them here too.
Yep, and it's just in line with our, you know, snappiness that we were trying to bring to this feature. Like, anything you do happens instantly, whether, you know, you're completing a task or if you misclick and you can unclick it, and it's all there. Nothing's disappearing on you.
Yeah, and I guess one of the big changes by having tasks in the activity feed is they fit into the timeline of the other things that have been happening in that contact. So the completed tasks will show up, you know, at the time they were completed. So it just fits in when you're having a look at the history of the contact, that you can see, oh, there was this task and it was done at that time.
Yep. And that ties into the events as well. So, whoops, we've skipped over there, but to the events, it's a similar concept in that you can see events that are upcoming, and you can see if they're in the past as well. So when you're looking through the activity feed, I'm not sure if there's any events on this contact. Let's have a look. It doesn't look like there's any, but the events will show, let's maybe go to one that does. It will show just so, and it just, you know, having the events here as well, it just gives you that full picture as to, all the interactions you've had with this particular person, whether that's a meeting or they've received an email or whatever it is as well. So similar theme, you can pin, you can, you know, edit stuff, you can delete, etc. And you've got the associations and tooltips and everything on there as well.
And again,
everything's very consistent.
Yeah.
So, you know, any kind of like items you bring in, you know, you'll be able to find the associations or the key information at the same place. So there's a consistency that will help you to process everything quicker.
Cool. All right. And one other thing with the activity feed is we've redone the buttons at the top here. So these are basically going to launch all the pop-ups, and it will pre-select associations, depending on what you're actually launching. And so, yeah, you can just quickly create tasks or send an email or add notes, etc., all in that place there. So, yeah, so that's the activity feed and the tasks and the events in those. So next we're going to have a look at the sending bulk communications through the pop-ups. So this is an interesting one. So this basically allows you to, rather than using the bulk marketing system to send out bulk communications, you can do it through the email pop-up. So it's kind of like sending an individual email to lots of people at once. And that just gives you a few advantages. It lets you to load templates into the system. It basically just gives you all the benefits of the send email pop-up. So we might just jump in and show some examples of how that works.
And this is great. Like, it doesn't replace the campaign. Obviously,
No.
if you're sending a marketing campaign, you get the detailed reporting and you get more of the design options. This is for if you want to send a quick email to a filtered group of contacts, for example.
Yeah, and that's an important difference, because there's no bulk email marketing report. When you do this, it's quite literally sending, lots of individual emails at once. It's not a bulk marketing campaign in that sense. So yeah, basically you can run some filters. So you could do, whatever filters or whatever groups that you're wanting to work on. And then basically once you've got at least one contact selected, you've got the send email button here. And so you can still use the email campaign if you've got the marketing module. You would click that and it would take these contacts to the marketing campaign. But if we just click send email, what this will do is it will launch the pop-up, and it's got all our 50 recipients selected. And then we can go ahead and send them an email. So we can load in a template, and this will send out a bulk email. Obviously, if we've got merge fields, you'll need to add the associations for those. And this will send an individual email out to each person. It will change the name on each one. Given that this is still a bulk email, the subscribe settings still apply. So if someone has unsubscribed from marketing emails, you can't send, sending emails in this way, it won't send to unsubscribed people.
Maybe it might be helpful to clarify there. If you're using this email pop-up and you're only sending to one person, or you individually selected the recipients, it will send whether they're unsubscribed or not, because you're sending an individual communication at this point. But if you're sending a bulk communication, that's when, if someone has unsubscribed, they're not going to receive a bulk communication.
And it will say it here as well. And just to clarify a little further, it's not even the number of contacts, it's the it's the nature of how you're sending it out. So a bulk email, you can do a bulk email to one person, if that makes sense. And this still will apply the marketing, the unsubscribe rules. So that's doing it on the contacts. And we've also added this to addresses. And so again, you can run your filters how you like. So you might filter a particular street or something. So a really good use case for this is, if you've just listed a property or just sold a property and you want to let the owners know in the street, you can do it like this. And same way, instead of campaign, we would do to owners. And you can see we've got this, the 10 owners selected there. And obviously, so we're sending to, it's a different concept to just recipients, because we're sending to ownerships. And Luke, you might want to explain this.
So whereas on the contact screen, if you're sending to a contact, we can only fill in the merge fields based on the contact. But now that we're on the addresses screen, we can fill in merge fields based on either the contact or the property they own. So you can have templates, prospecting templates that reference a person's property that they own, and it will merge two types of data instead of just one.
So an example use case, let's go with the just listed again. So we've got the property association here. So you've just sold a particular property that, you could put that in, but then, yeah, in here, you could reference the owner's address in this email as well, so
using
it's
the address tags.
Using the address tags, correct, yeah. Which you can set up on the templates when you're creating your templates. So yeah, so that's a really cool feature. That's something that you couldn't really do before, and certainly something that you can't do with the marketing module, because that's just sending to a list of contacts. So yeah, this just gives a bit of extra ability to work in those address merge tags as well.
And everything that we've spoken about for email also applies to SMS as well.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, all the same options, sending like that too. Yeah. Cool. I think we covered everything we needed to. There is a limitation of up to 100 recipients. And yeah, so you can actually, these will send through your connected email account as well if you've got the email sync set up, because these are individual emails. Yeah, so something to keep in mind. Cool. So the next thing we're going to look at are the mobile app updates. So this is really exciting. Basically, we spoke about this on the last webinar, where we were basically going to do a mobile app refactor. So it was essentially just doing some back-end work to make it easier for us to continue to develop features. And so now that we've done that, we've gone ahead and made a bunch of updates, and we've still got quite a lot that we want to do on the mobile app as well to keep improving that. So one of the things that we did was the inspection flow, which is obviously a big part of the mobile app, improving that whole process with searching and checking people in, which we'll have a look at in a second. And we also just improved search as a whole. So when across the app, so when you're searching other things like contacts or appraisals or listings, that search has been improved. We've got the new landscape mode. So this is particularly useful for if you're on a tablet. We've added in all the private inspection functionality that went in last quarter. And we're doing a heap of design and user experience improvements as well. And this isn't an exhaustive list. This is just kind of the bigger stuff. There's lots of little bits and pieces as well that's being tweaked. That probably too much to mention here, but
the biggest thing is definitely the inspection flow. Moving to a system where you can start typing a person's name, it's searching in the background instantly, shows you the results of your search, and a check-in button, rather than having the check-in form, which we used to have. So this way of handling the inspections is just quicker, more accurate, means you're not going to get duplicates by accident. You don't have to wait for the search to happen, because it's happening as you're doing it. We've also done an update where it will show you, if it's someone's second inspection, it will just show up on that list there that it's their second inspection or third inspection or whatever it is. So yeah, a few updates there. And so very exciting stuff happening in the mobile app as well.
I can't wait for all the other stuff that we're working on. So I'm just going to stop sharing on the computer, and then I'm going to share off my phone, and we're going to take a quick look at the mobile app. So I'm in the inspection section. So this particular screen is pretty much the same. When you tap into the inspection, this is where the differences are. So first you'll notice that the search box is now this little box at the top here. And so basically we can just start searching. So we can start typing, for example, say we have Jennifer, we can just write Jen, and then we can see, results straight away. And it's going to show us inquired and then other contacts, just like it would normally. If I go back before searching, it'll show if anyone's registered, if you're using the inspection booking feature, and if anyone's inquired, etc. Another cool thing that you just mentioned, Luke, was if it's a second inspection or third inspection, you get that little green section there that shows that. So that's obviously really useful to know as you're checking them in, because that's a conversation that you can have with them because they're coming to a second inspection. So let's go ahead and I'll just check myself in. Actually, another important thing to show is that if you can't find the contact, if they're not in your database, just below where I'm searching, you can see Add Contact Peter. So if I tap that, this will allow me to create the contact, so I can collect some extra details here. And when I tap Save, it will both create the contact and check the person in, all in that one action. So that's streamlined that process a lot better as well. So what I'll do is I'll just check in this top one here. And what you'll see, it brings us back to the new attendee screen to search for the next person, but we also get this confirmation here, Peter whoever was checked in. So we get that confirmation, and then we have this edit button as well. And what this edit button does is it takes us to the attendees, to the attendee attendance screen for this particular person. So say you've got some notes to add immediately after checking them in, or while you're still talking with them. You can add some notes here, you can change interest level, you can, price feedback, all this different stuff that you can do. So that just allows you really quick access to edit that while you're still speaking with them, and then otherwise you can just move on to checking in the next person. The other thing before we go to the next, to the attendee screen, is we've got this property tab as well. So sometimes when you're at an inspection, you're going to get questions about the property and you might not know off the top of your head. So you can actually access the listing here. So you can, provide information.
Yeah. That was something that did get requested a little bit, is being able to get some more specific property information from the inspection. So we've just added it in here as a tab.
Yep. So there's not a lot of data on this particular listing, but yeah, obviously you'll be able to see all the things.
Everything, including the custom fields, would normally show up there.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. So then, yeah, so that's pretty much, I think, the extent of the inspection flow changes. The attendee screen, I think, is for the most part the same. Where you swipe for interest level and sending out documents and everything. So we won't go into that. But yeah, just that initial flow of checking people in and creating contacts and searching. Yeah, that's been a really big improvement, I think.
Yeah, feedback's been really, really good.
Yeah. Yep. So then just some other bits and pieces. I think that the appraisal screen has had a touch up, I believe. Or is it the forms? Yeah. So the forms have had a bit of a touch up.
Yep.
So yep. Did you want to?
Yeah. So the forms have all the new forms that we're doing, and we're actually going back and updating the existing forms as well. I've got this new design, which is a little bit nicer and a little bit easier to use. We started with editing an appraisal because the thing we're working on now is being able to add an appraisal from the mobile app as well.
Yep. And then the search as well that you'll see here is similar to the search that we use on the inspection now too. So I'll jump back out of this now, and we'll jump back on the computer.
Yeah, very exciting developments happening on the mobile app. One other thing that we did, just while you're bringing that up, Peter, was the activity feed on the mobile app. One of the design improvements was bringing that into line with the activity feed in the web.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we forgot to look at that. Yeah, but it looks the same now, basically. Yep. Cool. All right. So next we're going to take a look at some new filters. So what we're doing is we'll talk about this a bit later, but we're going to be building segments, which are kind of like saved filters. So as part of that and preparation for that work is we're building out some more filters, which will work with that new feature. So this was kind of highly requested as well, I think, last contacted. So basically people wanting to know, when did I last, have interactions with this person? And I want to be able to filter my contacts to see who haven't I spoken to, in the last 90 days or something like that. So this one's really useful. You can see that you can, the filter strategies here, you can work on when it occurred, and you can set a start and end date, and when it didn't occur in that date range, and then also number of days if they were last contacted in the last number of days, or more than number of days ago. So yeah, you can set some really nice filters around those. We've also got some more granular filters on inquiries and inspections. So previously we had inquired, we still have inquired or inspected, but now you can drill down to inquired on a rental property or inquired on a sale property. And then all these strategies below here apply to these filters where you can choose any property, or, you know, so they've inquired a certain amount of times, or they've inquired on a particular project, or again, in the last X days or more than X days ago. So yeah, they're just some really handy contact filters. And then we've got some more on all the other activity as well. So if someone has inquired or inspected or offered or called, or you've called them or emailed, you know, all these other activities, you can now filter on those days as well.
So that might be a good one to have a look at in the software feed. These are really good ones. It's a common use case. People want to see everyone that they haven't contacted in the last year or whatever it is. And so, yeah, so this is what you're filtering here is people that we have contacted within the last 90 days. But maybe you want to get a list of people that we haven't contacted in the last 90 days. So you would choose last contacted more than 90 days ago. And this now gives us people that we need to get in touch with and update their details or whatever it is. So this is and not just last contacted, but if you want to see people that you haven't called or people that you haven't emailed, you can get granular on that as well.
Yeah, this is kind of like a shortcut. This just puts all the kind of main contact filters in one filter. And the cool thing about this is, say we jump into Bianca and we log a call, on this filter, she's going to drop off that filter.
Yeah.
So this is almost like a dynamic list of people to keep in touch with if you're trying to keep in touch with your database.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's a really cool one. Yep, near listing. So this one is to find address owners who own a property within a certain kilometre distance of the selected property listing. And you can also do that in the same street and suburb. So this is looking at ownerships. So basically...
So the use case here might be you've just sold a property and you want to contact anyone that is on within a certain distance, like maybe within a kilometre or whatever it is.
Whatever, yeah.
You want to get in touch with them and let them know the outstanding results that you've had.
Yeah. And likewise for the same street and suburb, if you've got owners in the same street, then
but this is a list of anyone that owns a property on that street.
Yep. Yep. Cool. And yeah, we've got a couple of other ones here, just user. So in the future with segments, you're going to be able to have kind of like save filters. So you could have filters saved that just apply to you or don't apply to you. So they're just handy to have for those. And then we've got vendor and landlord listing status as well. So you can go to your contacts and find a list of vendors where the listing status is active, for example. So they're all your vendors that you've got with active listings. Cool. So then addresses, we have the near listing feature as well. So that works pretty much exactly the same as on the contacts, except the results are going to be addresses instead of contacts. Yep. And obviously, yeah, for communicating to owners there. Cool. And then we have merge fields. So just a small update on here. So we've added a bunch of new merge fields, partly on feedback and partly just on, helping clients to streamline certain workflows with particular templates. The main one I'll just talk about is these contact ones. So I've added these new contact merge fields. So you've basically got two variations. You've got first names and full names, and then these apply to appraisals, addresses, contacts. And basically the way it works is if there's only one, so let's use an appraisal, for example, you've got one contact on an appraisal, it's just going to be first name, it'll just be John. If you've got two contacts, it'll be John and Mary. If you've got three or more contacts, it'll just grab all their first names and it'll format it in a way that makes sense, John, Mary, and James. And then you've got the full name version of that as well. So this just really, these merge fields really just simplify if you're sending letters and things like that, having to worry about how it addresses them. You can just use these merge fields to do that. So these are all on the release notes as well that we publish, but yeah, we won't go into each individual one of those. We've also got some new integrations that we've done for the quarter. So 3 new ones. We've got the HomePass integration, so you can push your listings from Eagle to HomePass, and then inspection data can feed from HomePass into Eagle. We've got the Forms Live integration. So this is basically the Victorian version of REI Forms or RealWorks. And yeah, basically it's if you've used that integration before, it works exactly the same way. This is now just being built into the system, the Forms Live. It's kind of like a different version to the other states. And then we have VXT. So this is an interesting one. This is a voicemail forwarding and smart voicemail greeting service. So without going into too much detail, I believe you can set greetings for certain times of the day, and then if you do get voicemails, they can get converted to text and obviously recorded as well. And then with this integration, it basically creates a note on the contact in Eagle, and you can you can read or listen to that voicemail basically on the contact. So it keeps it all together.
So yeah, basically how it works, if you receive a call, you miss the call, the message that they leave gets converted to text and put as a note on the contact in Eagle.
Yep. Cool. All right. So now we've got just a few other small updates that are worth a mention. SEO URLs. So you can rewrite page URLs. So basically,
more of a technical one, I suppose,
yeah,
for web developers and SEO specialists.
Yep.
Being able to have a bit more control over which URLs redirect to which pages.
Yep. That's it, which is a big one for websites. New user permission for triggering automations. New custom field type, long text. Mm-hmm. So yeah, basically it's just a long, we can probably show an example. So if you're using a custom fields to show a larger piece of text, this field will accommodate that. I think we have one on the, yep, here's one here.
This is a good field for now that we've got custom online vendor reports. Yes. You can have long paragraphs of text showing up on your custom vendor reports, for example.
Yeah.
Or any other, I guess, long information you need to store. Might be an alternative description or something like that.
Yeah. Cool. So we've been building out our API as well. So yeah, you probably only need to know this if you're doing kind of custom reports or you're doing custom development plugging into Eagle. Mm-hmm. But we're always kind of working on adding more stuff to that. And then the other one is tooltips. So we've rolled out tooltips across the whole system for addresses, listings, contracts, etc. And so, yeah, we looked at that before on the activity feed where you've got the pop-ups and you can launch the buttons and everything on those too. So that's pretty much the big ticket items. As always, we publish release notes every fortnight. So you can always have a look at, if you go to help and release notes, you can see the latest releases if you want to look at more of the specifics on releases. We're going to have a quick look at what's coming up as well. So activity feed rollout. So obviously we've done it on the contact screen. Essentially what we're going to be doing is a staged rollout to all the other screens where there's an activity feed. So that'll be coming. And then new sidebars. So yeah, Luke, you might want to talk a little bit about this, but basically we've already started that actually. If you're watching this now, you might have noticed a couple of things change in the sidebar already.
Yeah, so the idea is, there's a few ideas behind the sidebars. One is just displaying more data and data in a way that's easier to consume. Yeah, there's some very exciting widgets. Actually, Tony's working on them at the moment around seeing the ownership history of, seeing what properties and, when it was purchased and that sort of stuff in the sidebar. And yeah, we're bringing it in line with the activity feed design. So we're updating the design a bit as well. Yep. And also bringing in the ability to have custom sidebar widgets. So if you want some functionality or some information to show in the sidebar that, isn't relevant to any of our other users, we now have the ability to do custom sidebar widgets for you. So, you might want extra fields to display in the sidebar there that you can update. You might have a custom integration with one of your other platforms that you want to have some of that information showing here. So yeah, we've got that ability now to build those custom sidebar widgets if people want.
Yeah. Just just while you're talking about the design of the sidebars, and bring that in line with the activity feed, like something that we've considered as we refresh the designs is to make it kind of adapt to the screen size. So, we're aware that there's a lot of information being displayed, but sometimes you're on the move and you're using like a smaller laptop, and so that everything will get a little bit smaller. So it ensures that you can see everything on your smaller screen. But as soon as you come back to the office and you're using a bigger monitor, things will be bigger and easier to read. So that's something where we're bringing across everything as we do the design refresh.
Yeah. One thing I like here as well, if this contact, so the two widgets that we're looking at here at the top, the edit contact and the contact information, these are the new ones. Yep. So Pete, if you hover over, so you also get, these pop-ups that if something's been cut off for size, you'll get the full information from hovering over the item. So that's another cool little touch.
Yep. Yeah, super excited for the for some of the new widgets and the custom stuff as well. Looking forward to see what clients do with that as well. It's kind of a bit like a custom brochure, except a sidebar widget in a way. Is probably an easy way to think of it. Mm-hmm. So obviously we're going to be rolling this out to contact screen first, and just like the activity feeds, we're going to be then rolling that out to other areas of the software with sidebars too. Obviously there's going to be some slight differences with the types of widgets. So some screens might have widgets just for them, and but you'll see that kind of play out as we roll those out. Mm-hmm. Cool. Teams. So
this is one for the bigger offices that have people working in teams. So the ability to share contacts so that not only you can see it, but that people in your team can see it. We've created the ability to set up a team and then have your permissions align with that team.
So you can create your teams here, and then when you're looking at specific contact or any records really, let's just jump over to my sample one here, and if we click edit, this is how the sharing works. So assign it to myself. And we've got the teams here. So instead of saying, okay, I want to share this with Tim and Matt, if you've got if you're working in a pod, or you've got an admin or assistant who needs to have access to your data, this is basically how that would work. You would put them in a team with yourself, and then you would have your data assigning to the team by default. And one of the benefits of that is if someone changes, if your team changes, someone leaves the company or someone joins the company, you just remove them or add them to the team, and then they get access to all that data. You don't need to, muck around with changing what data is assigned to who, kind of thing. Cool, so that's a good one. Contact segments. So we touched on this before, but basically you can think of contact segments a bit like saved filters. So you might have some kind of common use cases where you're setting up filters, and they might be quite long. There might be 3 or 4 or 5 different kind of things that you're filtering on to get the curated list of contacts or addresses or whatever else you're filtering. And basically what this will allow you to do is save that as a segment. So obviously that's still a work in progress, but you'll be able to quickly access that segment again. And you can think of that as kind of like a dynamic group of contacts. So with groups, you put someone in a group, in the buyer group, for example, and they're just going to sit in that buyer group and you can, go find them. But say you had an active buyer segment, and you could set the criteria that they've inquired on a property in the last, 30 days or whatever criteria you want to set. They will fall into that segment while the criteria is met, and then they'll drop out of that segment. So yeah, that's probably the easiest way to think of it. And there's some cool stuff that we're working on with with other parts of with how that can interact with other parts of the software too.
Yeah.
All right, and vendor and landlord report design. So did you want to maybe touch on, and we probably need to talk about, I can't remember if we covered this last webinar about the custom reports that we can do now.
Yep.
So we might talk about that as well.
Yeah, so we can do custom online owner reports, which, yeah, we're pretty sure we covered last webinar.
Yeah, I think we did, yeah.
And yeah, basically what we're doing now is there's a whole lot more data that we have the ability to put in vendor reports that with our new updated design, that data is going to be in there. But it's not just about the data that shows, it's also about, making it look beautiful so that when you present it to your client, it blows them away. It just, looks modern, clean, and reflects well on your brand.
Yep. So we're going to be doing both the online and the PDF report. Is that right? A new redesign on those. Yep. Will be coming. Yep. Which will be really, really good. I think a lot of people, will be looking forward to that. Okay, and so that's pretty much it for the big ticket items for the quarter. So as always, feedback is super important, and it helps shape a lot of the features that we build. In fact, a lot of the stuff that we've gone through today has been, shaped by feedback. And so to share your feedback, you can obviously send it through to support@eaglesoftware.com.au. You can, if you're on the phone with us, share feedback as well. And we also have a feedback portal. You can find that just on the help desk, and you can submit feedback on specific items that we've posted that we're seeking feedback on as well. So yeah, they're always welcome feedback. Cool. So I think that's pretty much it for today. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to add, or?
No, that's it. Thanks, Peter.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks very much for joining me, and thanks for watching. And yeah, as always, if you have any questions, please get in touch with us. And yeah, we look forward to releasing some cool features in the future. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. See ya.
Yes.
Yeah.